Hello, I'm Harry Hobson, President and CEO of Plymouth Harbor.
And I'm Karen Novak, the Administrator for Strategic Healthcare Initiatives here at Plymouth Harbor as well.
Hi, Karen. Karen, today, as you know, is November 16th, and we do want to give a brief campus update. We'll touch on several topics, including COVID-19, just a brief reminder that the Wellness Center will be reopening tomorrow. That makes everyone happy. And then I'm going to talk about something that we'll be putting on our website beginning in the next few days, and we're going to kind of keep it going. And that's just a list of frequently asked questions that I know we receive not only from our residents, but team members as well. So I think that's just another way we're trying to enhance our communications here on campus.
We have to, they change quite a bit and they change often based on those CDC guidelines. So I think this will be a benefit to just about everybody.
It just seems like life is a moving target these days.
Yes, it does.
Well, Karen, let's go ahead and get started with a campus update.
Today, currently, we have 4 residents that are positive. Pretty much all of them are asymptomatic. And then we have 2 staff members that are positive, that are asymptomatic right now. We're very thankful that we had many of them fall off the list last week, and looking forward to everybody else rejoining us here with the family at Plymouth Harbor.
Yeah, those numbers are improved, and that's it's a daily challenge, but we're going to keep it going. And as we head right into the holiday season, and someone asked me what I thought was going to occur in general over the holidays, and I said, we're probably going to see the full impact by Valentine's Day. Now that seems like a long way off, but let's think about that. We've got Thanksgiving coming up a week after next. So from Thanksgiving, that's a large gathering, followed by, Christmas, Hanukkah, and then New Year's Day. So when all of that and those results are in by February 14th, I hope we're all in good standing. I have a feeling there's going to be an uptick nationwide and certainly in Sarasota County. So we're going to try to hopefully minimize any risk to our residents. So, but that's going to take an effort by everybody. So.
We're definitely seeing an uptick in the numbers already. If you think about it, Florida now is the 3rd largest state with COVID, only behind Texas and California. A lot of cases, a lot of time together, but all the more reason to really put those implementations in place that we have here at Plymouth Harbor. That 6-foot perimeter, washing your hands, but most importantly, that mask. Those 3 things alone can really help us out quite a bit.
That's right. That's right. Well, regarding the Wellness Center, as we had planned and hoped, the Wellness Center will indeed reopen tomorrow on the 17th. That includes the art studio, wood shop, fitness center, indoor therapy pool, indoor spa, and in-person group exercise classes. In addition, I know the online reservation system is now also up and running, and Summer just is encouraging those. Please come down and be sure to go through that reservation system.
Right, and don't forget to get screened prior to going down to the Wellness Center.
Right. So often that happens, and I understand that a little bit like myself. I get out of the car, I'm halfway to the front door of Publix, for example, and I forgot my mask, so I turn around and go back. So same way with screening sometimes, headed down to the Wellness Center. That's okay, just make that U-turn and get screened and come on back. So I want to spend a few minutes also talking about 2 things: gathering sizes, and I'm going to reiterate what was in the splash last week. And we mentioned that we're experiencing that uptick in COVID cases really across the area. So I have directed all of our departments to minimize, if not eliminate, all non-essential team member meetings and move to the Zoom format whenever possible. I appreciate the cooperation from the Residents Association and Connie Sanders, our president. She's also agreed to suspend the Resident Association related in-person gatherings such as board, colony, and committee meetings for the remainder of November. Now, that brings up an array of questions, and that's why I decided to start, and you'll see this on our website within the next few days, really a fax, a listing, and we'll keep it going of frequently asked questions. And in fact, I'm going to start with a couple here today for our audience because it relates to gathering sizes. Some folks look at it and say they're very pleased that we're doing this. Others say they're questioning what's our rationale. So let's spend just maybe 2 or 3 minutes talking about that. For example, when it's published, you'll see a question like, what are the criteria for closing and reopening venues? And Karen, you and I've talked about that, and you always take us back to the evidence-based. But how would you respond to that?
First we have to take a look at our numbers, not only here at Plymouth Harbor, but in the community as well. The risk factor is what we kind of really focus in on. We kind of really have to then, once we identify what that risk is or those numbers are, then it's up to us to communicate it to everybody and say, hey, you know what, we need to go slow with this, or we're not going to be able to open this up, or we're going to have to close it down based on all those numbers.
And the second question that you'll see on the first fax that'll come out, it is the same standard used in all settings? Well, on the most part, the answer is yes. As one would expect, though, each venue can present its own array of challenges. For example, specifically for Plymouth Harbor, one would ask, why is it okay to gather 20 folks or 25 folks in Pilgrim Hall, or even 50 residents in the Mayflower dining room, but not acceptable to have a colony gathering of more than, let's say, 10? Well, what we try to do, as Karen has said so often, evidence-based. So we follow the CDC guidelines to make these decisions. And Karen, that fax is going to talk about lowest risk, more risk, higher risk, and highest risk. Can you spend a minute or so talking about that and how that might relate to Plymouth Harbor and our residents?
If you think about low risk, really that's someone that might be doing a virtual Thanksgiving dinner. You're having FaceTime or Google Duo, some way that you actually are sharing time with people, but not really having the people there. That is going to give you your lowest risk exposure possible. The more risk, it's kind of like the medium. You kind of look at some of the gatherings that maybe have 10 or less people there. There's enough room for social distancing. You can think about maybe outside by the pool, the patios out there. Those have good ventilation. You're able to get that 6-foot distance. Ideally, that's a more risk kind of environment. The high risk, this is when people kind of get a little bit clustered or a little bit closer and you have larger number of groups. Probably I would say less than about 30, but definitely more than 10. Sometimes the alcohol gets a little bit excessive, and people tend to forget maybe about wearing their mask or keeping that social distance. And the hugs come into play, and there you have that real intimate face-to-face contact with someone that may be asymptomatic and then passes that virus on to you. The highest risk, well, if you think about what we really like to do sometimes on Black Friday, we go out and we shop into a crowded mall with various people from all kinds of areas. If you think about some of the larger restaurants too, where you have large numbers, maybe greater than 50 people in a restaurant that are from who knows where, coming in from different states, different cities. They're bringing different environments into you, so you are exposed to them, whatever their environment has. That's definitely a high risk because you're actually taking your mask off when you're eating your dinner, lunch, or breakfast. So again, think about those venues when you go out for Thanksgiving, if you choose to do, and look at the risk that's associated with that.
And Karen, you pointed out to me earlier on this one that when you think about, again, that highest risk category, whether it's a restaurant, a large social, a holiday party, oftentimes there's background music. And what does that background music cause you to do?
Absolutely. If you think about singing and talking louder and projecting, but that also has an increase of air that comes from your lungs and it manages to escape out your mouth. And if you're not wearing a mask, let's say you're at the table eating and you're discussing something with someone across the table, you tend to project more. Therefore, viruses can actually kind of travel a little bit farther in distance if you indeed do have that virus.
Thank you. And I hope just those two questions, which you'll see again in writing in next couple days on our website, they'll be followed by questions such as, let me give you a few more. We understand that some decisions have to be made immediately. However, can residents be told the duration of the changes or when the situation can be reevaluated? And we'll provide a response to that type of question. Someone has asked a question as of today, will we be permitted to have holiday celebrations in our colony? What Karen and I want to do is give you a good, consistent, and somewhat comprehensive response to those. So we can really aim to be on the same page, and I think you'll feel a much better level of consistency with our responses. So if it seems erratic, sometimes it may be, from our standpoint, it makes sense at the time, like recently when we did come up with several positivities or positives on COVID. We needed to react quickly, and then 24 hours later, after we've really wrapped our heads around it, then come out with a little bit more logic why we've done what we've done. So anyway, we will be providing frequently asked questions. You can look for those. And our goal is to be as transparent as possible and to keep our residents and team members as safe as possible. That's the goal. So,
in the ever-changing world of the CDC and the Department of Health, the guidelines that we go by, they do indeed change, some of them on a daily basis. So that does keep us on our toes.
Right. And, we all are making sacrifices right now. And I mean, ourselves, Karen, I know how you feel with your 3 daughters and trying to catch up with them and not being able to, we haven't seen our grandchildren as well, or our children since last March, or I guess it's been even February. But while those are sacrifices, again, boy, Thanksgiving, let's look around. We're on the most part healthy. We are living in a predictable environment here at Plymouth Harbor. So there's a lot to be thankful for as well. And if you want to know how dedicated and cooperative Plymouth Harbor is, all you have to do is go back less than a week and how we all pulled together during the Hurricane Eta, which was in our area as a tropical storm. And we came out of it in a very safe manner. So.
Yet another thing to be thankful for this year.
Absolutely. Well, Karen, I don't have anything else to report today. So would you like to lead us toward the conclusion of our video?
Sure. We want to remind you, please, to keep that social distance between you and your fellow roommates or fellow residents. Please remember to wash your hands quite frequently. Use that antibacterial soap and really get in there and scrub hard, especially between your fingers and the webbing. Remember to hit those cell phones or those antibacterial wipes, those doorknobs and those keys. But most importantly, especially, this simple tool that we have here available to everybody at Plymouth Harbor. Please remember when you leave your apartment to don your mask.
Very good. Thank you, Karen. And that brings conclusion to this video. So it's now time to don our masks.